So right here we have a 70-year-old hydraulic cylinder off of a Bucyrus Erie Dozer for a TD-6. Let's see how much this bad boy weighs. Oh, that is heavy. Here we are. We've returned to the scene of the crime. This is where that old TD-6 was sitting for so long. Now, today, I'm going to try to start going through all of these dozer blade parts. So obviously, a lot of this stuff is way too big for me to lift by hand. But a lot of the smaller parts I can lift by hand, and I want to go through and I want to take an inventory of all of this stuff so that then I know what we've got and what we're working with. And then those smaller parts, I will bring those home with me. But obviously the big stuff, it's going to have to stay here, and we're going to have to bring down a tractor and load that stuff. But for now, let's just start taking an inventory of stuff. Okay, I got a pretty good start here. I got everything drug out. Well, I didn't bring a shovel, so I don't know if there's stuff that's still buried in the dirt a little bit. But I got most of the big stuff drug out. And I'm thinking that we have most everything. There's a couple things that I already know that we were missing. But we've got two of these big brackets right here. And this pin right here is where the dozer blade attaches, right here. And I do not know what goes on the back side of that, if it's just a pin that goes through this, or if there's like a back saddle that, you know, that grasps around this. So that's one thing that I'm not sure about. But we do have both of these right there. Then we have these two big bows or arches that go across the tops of the tracks and help lift and support the blade. We've got the front guard here. This is surprisingly heavy, but we've got that. We've got the belly pan right here. We've got a couple of brackets. We've got two of these brackets, and we've got two of these other ones. This one looks as though it's been cut at some point, so we're gonna have to weld that back together maybe. We've got these sprocket guards. We've got two of the rear ones right there and here, but I could find three of the other sprocket guards. So I'm assuming we're missing one of these, either that or it's buried in this dirt or the leaves. We've also got the valve body back here, right here, and I don't know how all of that attaches. And then we've got the two big lift cylinders, and this does not look that great right here. These cylinders, actually you can still see a little bit of chrome there. I thought that it was all gone and rusted away, but these two cylinders are going to be tricky to work with. To get, I'm sure to get these inner pistons re-chromed will be expensive, but man, these two big cylinders, that's what kind of makes the whole thing Bucyrus Erie right there. That's cool. And these things weigh a ton. So other than that, we have the blade up here. This is what we're going to have to disassemble some more. These pins, they pull out like that. That's good. But it looks like we have like a big, huge bow right here, which kind of goes around the whole thing. And then we have these two pieces of channel that connect this bow, is what I'm calling it, up to the front blade on the sides. And it looks like up here there's a little bit of adjustment that you can tilt the blade a little bit. I mean, it's all manual, but not too bad. And then we've got the blade here, pins right here in the middle. So we'll have to pull that pin out, and then we can probably, hopefully, disconnect the blade. I cannot see what the cutting edge of that blade looks like, but it does have a cutting edge on it right here. So anyway, that's pretty good news. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start loading up some of this stuff into the back of my truck. The stuff I can lift by hand. Everything else is gonna have to wait for another day. Here's a cool little nameplate. It's brass. It's really hard to read, but it's pretty cool. Looks like maybe at one point there was another tag right here held on with these rivets. But it's on now. So I just got a bunch of that stuff loaded in my truck. That is tiring. But as I was loading it, I remembered something. So I showed you the valve body right here that controls the cylinders. But one thing that is missing in all of this is the pump. And the hydraulic pump, when we picked this up, he told us that the hydraulic pump had been cracked. Somehow it had gotten water in it and it cracked, so it was shot. So he didn't bring that home with him. It's still down in central Utah where this whole thing came from. But anyway, I have a plan. I am thinking that I can put one of those pumps that, like a auxiliary pump that lots of times people put on the back of their tractor to run a loader. I'm thinking I can put one of those pumps on this dozer. It'd be really nice if I could rig it up to run off of the crankshaft, off the front of the engine, just like this pump originally did, because then I have live power. If not, then I'd have to put it off of the PTO, but in the back, which means when the transmission isn't in gear, then the PTO probably isn't spinning. Or when I have the clutches pulled, then the PTO isn't spinning. But anyway, that's something that is far down the line. Anyway, I'm gonna get going home. Okay, back home, and these cylinders are so heavy. I was thinking about it as I was driving home. I think these are probably some of the heavier things I have ever lifted. So I'm gonna play a little game. How much do you think that cylinder weighs? Ugh. 156 pounds. Ah, that is heavy. Okay, that's gonna do it for today's video. I'm gonna go inside, maybe take some ibuprofen, and then do the editing. And that's gonna do it for today's video. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you next week with another video.